welcome back to the Ohio Recycling Coalition's Pathway to Environmental Leadership. We had a dynamic lineup today of our presenters. They're from all over the United States, including right here in Columbus, Ohio. Our facilitator is Mr. Willie Johnson. He's going to be doing a good job. If you have any questions, comments, for those of you that are logged on, there's a chat. You can also raise your hand if you have a question. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of the Ohio Sustainable Business Council, Ms. Mayda Sanchez. Mayda, it's yours now.
Thank you, Arlie. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Does that look okay?
Yes, it does.
Wonderful. Okay. All right, so today I'm going to cover the benefits of being a sustainable business and how to be a sustainable business. Will give folks an idea of what sort of practices businesses will incorporate. Oh, we see Tia coming on now. That's great. So let me give a few more people trickling in here. Good morning.
If everyone can put themselves on mute, that would be helpful.
Okay. So my name is Mayda, and I am the Executive Director for the Ohio Sustainable Business Council. We're a statewide coalition of businesses and networks that at the intersection of sustainability and business. And so we promote policies and practices for sustainability throughout Ohio. And we also advocate for legislation that supports sustainable businesses and a sustainable and just economy. And there's our website there. And I'm probably going to be preaching to the choir here because I'm sure you guys know a lot about sustainability already. I can kind of see the faces and recognize them. But what is a sustainable business? The sustainability means meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So when you apply sustainability to a business, you basically will take into account all of the different social and economic resources and the community and also the planet. And that's called the triple bottom line. So it's not just a one bottom line of profit. You're going to take into account also the social, the community, and the planet as well in your business decisions. So that's the people, planet, and profit, if you've heard of the triple bottom line, as I'm sure most of us have here. So how do businesses become more sustainable? By applying sustainable practices, and they can save money, and they also make the business more resilient to adversity. And so it can pivot on a dime, as they say, and be lean. And so when there are ups and downs in the economy, or there are some climate changes that are coming and affecting your business, you can be more resilient if you have some sustainability mindset, some practices in place. So what are these practices? One of those is to join the circular economy. And this is where ORC can really shine to get everyone on board. We have the zero waste. We have the way you build into processes and the whole business model, and you kind of design your products with a circularity in mind, where there really is very little waste, and you collaborate with other vendors and recyclers and so forth to get that done. One of the resources I wanted to share, and I'm kind of tailoring my presentation to really share resources, so you could definitely have lots of, this will be available as a PDF later, so you can always get these links. One of them is the Ohio Materials Marketplace. I don't know. Can you guys just wave if you're familiar with the Ohio Materials Marketplace? It's sponsored by the EPA. It's a multi-state marketplace. It's online. It is completely free, and businesses and organizations could go on there and connect and find and reuse byproduct materials. So one business that may have a lot of a particular material will post it on there. It's completely online, and other business can go in there and source those materials and collaborate with that business. It's a connection point. So it's open to any company or organization in Ohio, and it is multi-state. So you'll see materials from the region and the nation in that marketplace. So it's one of those good resources. Another way to be a sustainable business is to look into energy audits and energy plans. If you have a facility, a building, you want to make sure that it's running as efficiently and energy efficiently as possible. And we have an OSBC, we have a member called Energility, and they're here in Columbus, but I know there are a lot of them around the state. And they do energy audits, and they can really save a business a lot of money in their energy. We have an example here of a restaurant that had a 50% reduction in their natural gas use in their kitchen. And if any of you know restaurants, they use a lot of that gas. And they're in Athens, the Pigskin Bar and Grill, and there's a testimonial there. And of course, we have a link to more information on energy audits there at Energility. Another way is to engage with worker-owned businesses. So there are worker-owned businesses all over the state in every community. And so unlike a traditional company, the workers will own their means of production, as they say. They can participate in the profits and the oversight, and often in the management of the enterprise using democratic practices. So a lot of a good way for a business to support their community is to locate these worker-owned businesses nearby and collaborate with them. Worker ownership and cooperatives. The cooperatives are similar to worker-owned businesses in that it's more democratically run, and so these are some resources on worker ownership. The Ohio Employee Ownership Center. It's based out of Kent University. It's a nonprofit, and they actually help business owners that want to sell their business to sell to their employees. And so that is a good resource. And they also have technical support if employees want to start up their own business. Then South Centers also has a really good cooperative development center down there in Piketon, Ohio. Evergreen Cooperatives is one example. I'm just going to throw a couple of examples in Ohio of cooperatives. Evergreen is based in Cleveland. They're worker owned, and they have 3 different businesses under their umbrella of a cooperative. And so they share a lot of the services that that businesses need, like the accounting, the boards, and so forth, and a lot of other resources that they share, and so it makes them more resilient. They do laundry services in Cleveland. They provide a lot of the university hospitals there in Cleveland with their laundry services. And then they have greenhouses, which are really, really cool, huge greenhouses growing greens, and energy efficiency and solar business that they also have. And so these 3 share a lot of services across the board and makes them more resilient. There's on the other side of the state in Cincinnati, there is another co-op of businesses together. They're worker owned. And Queen City Commons is a composting service for residential and commercial. So you might want to check those out if you're interested in those types of businesses. And then there's Sustainergy, which is a insulation weatherization type business. And there is a lot of opportunity across the state for weatherization businesses because that is needed. We have some very inefficient buildings in Ohio. We need to bring them all up to speed. Another way businesses become more sustainable is to buy from other local businesses. When we buy from locally owned businesses, more money stays in the economy, and so it doesn't go away to some corporate office somewhere and get shifted out of the community. So there was a study called Civic Economics back in 2008, which has been a while now, but it's still pretty relevant. And they determined that a 10% shift from a chain, if everyone bought from a locally owned business instead of from a chain, Franklin County could in Central Ohio would generate $312 million and 5,000 new jobs. So that's a great thing to have. Just from a 10% shift, that's not much of a shift at all. So here's a graphical depiction of what we're saying. $68 would stay in the economy and keep circulating and keep growing to support our local businesses and our workers. And buying local, again, this is Michael Schumann. He wrote a really good book on going local. He has a whole series of books, actually. And he doesn't mean walling off the outside world. It just means to focus on supporting and nurturing local businesses. They use resources more sustainably. They don't have to ship things across the country, as you guys are probably aware. And they also serve the local and are more responsive to the communities that they serve in general. So another way businesses can be sustainable, and it has its own benefits baked in, is to be a high road employer. Taking care of your people and investing in employees results in long-term productivity and loyalty. If you take care of them, they take care of your business. So a high road employer, we've got a list of things that the American Sustainable Business Council, which was our sort of our parent organization for OSBC, came up with a list of 10 of businesses, responsible businesses and practices that a high road employer would engage in. And so family-friendly benefits, flexibility, livable wage, investing in their employees. These are all things that you want to look for in a business. You want to strive your business to implement these practices. And another thing, to be sustainable, you also have to advocate for sustainable practices. So you want to definitely learn about what is going on at the State House. Are they making rules that promote a living economy, a livable economy, and a just economy, or are they doing things that are not? They're working against small businesses and communities. So you always want to stay aware and lend your voice, because businesses do have the ear of a lot of policymakers out there. They listen. And finally, after you've done all these things and you want to go even further, B Corp certification is a thing out there. It's a independent organization, and they do an audit and they have a whole process to make sure that you're acting responsibly as a small business or as a large business, to be responsive to the environment, to your community, to your workers and to your customers. And they have a certification process that you can do that. Normally, if you incorporate in any business in Ohio, you can do a conventional incorporation. Legally, you're only responsible to answer to your shareholders and investors. But some businesses want to be more sustainable, and they want to respond to the triple bottom line. And so some states do have a benefit corporation, which is a different structure. And it actually legally allows you to put in your bylaws that you are responsible for the triple bottom line to your community, your employees, and so forth, not just your profits. And so then if the next step would be certifying if you want to do that as well. And finally, we have networking with other sustainable businesses and ORC, OSBC, Green Spot, and all the organizations around the state that are sustainable. They all will help you connect. And connecting with other sustainable businesses is one of the ways that companies can learn all the different practices and techniques and collaborations that make them sustainable and hopefully get you going really well. All right. Are there any questions? Anybody?
There's none in the chat.
None in the chat? Okay. All righty. Well, thank you so much for listening. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Mayda. We're going to move